Welcome to Jurassic World.
Yes, welcome to Jurassic World Minute, where we visit Jurassic World 1 minute at a time. I'm Brad.
I'm Dave.
And on this episode, we're continuing to minute 105 of Jurassic World. Before we get that, David, last week we got a little teaser coming out for Camp Cretaceous Season 4. We don't normally touch on news in the minutes like this, just because it dates them, and it could be, we can talk more about it in the monthly news show, but I just wanted to link here to the Jurassic-Pedia article on the 5 deaths, Cinco Muertes, just as a bit of a recap on the history of the 5 deaths as per novel canon, which pretty much leads over into film canon as well. And the speculation, the announcement of a new island awaiting in this little teaser we got. No other spoilers or anything for it. It's only a very short teaser.
Yes, it was very short. It was like 20 seconds. Basically just a shot of a dark jungle on the edge of the ocean, and it had like a split second
glitch
shot, like a glitch where we got a picture of a desert environment, and nobody really knows what that's about. Some people are speculating that this is a new desert isle that we'll be seeing. Other people are very convinced this is Isla Sorna. I'm very excited.
It looks a lot like the the sort of desert environments we've been seeing from Evolution 2.
It does.
And we know we're sort of on our way towards Dominion. We've got this season coming out now. Season 5 is probably going to be around March, April next year. Yeah, and then that'll lead straight into Dominion. So,
but yeah, December 3rd is when I think the teaser's dropping. This is what that was for.
Yeah. So season 4 is coming out December 3rd. I know Sauna's the easy one. There's speculation. Clayton's got a video up already suggesting Site C because it's been mentioned in the in Evolution 1. We don't know. It's all speculation.
I've heard an interesting speculation that is going to be that desert environment we saw is going to be the InGen outpost in Chile from the live tour,
and bring that into canon with the raptors they got down there. Yep, which they could do, and I wouldn't mind. That would probably be the more preferred out of them all, because unfortunately, especially the new movies, they're just changing things to suit the next movie as it comes out. And if now, well, Jurassic World or Fallen Kingdom, we wanted to get away from the islands. We've already written Sauna out technically as being dead. Nublar's just gone up with the volcano. We want to get away from the islands, but now, but there's something happening on one of the other islands in the 5 deaths or something, just to suit the new story when it's never been a thing outside of Evolution. So
I've seen a few fans speculating that it's Isla Morte, but I don't think so. These are all tropical islands. The teaser mostly centered around the shot of a tropical island, and I doubt they're doing microbiomes with like a random desert complete with cacti and all that on a tropical island.
Yeah, it does. Having that glitch and seeing that desert environment does throw a big spanner in the fan speculation, and I think it pretty much you're pretty much certain it's not going to be Sauna. I don't think so. we'll see anyway. Time will tell. We've got a couple more months before it comes out, so there's not an awful lot to go speculation-wise there. We might get another trailer by the end of the month and can talk about it a bit more in depth when we get to the October minutes. But yeah, I just wanted to have this article up from Pedia just to give everyone a little bit of a refresher. We talked about it in the Lost World when Nick's talking to the barge captain about it, and yeah, how the islands got their names and the speculation. What do you call that word? I don't know. The hysteria? No, the suspicious that the locals have got over the islands and that sort of thing too. So.
If you look to the right, you will see a herd of the first dinosaurs on our tour, called Dilophosaurus.
Dilophosaurus?
One of the earliest carnivores, we now know Dilophosaurus is actually poisonous, spitting its venom at its prey, causing blindness and eventually paralysis, allowing the carnivore to eat at its leisure. This makes Dilophosaurus a beautiful but deadly addition to Jurassic Park.
Alright, Dave, ready to get into minute 105.
I am.
Alright, minute 105, Jurassic World opens with Delta leaping through the lab window and ends with Owen reaching to remove the camera harness off Blue's head. As we open on minute 105, we get Delta leaping through the glass of the lab, blocking the group's path to the elevators. As we know, last minute from the novel, we had two raptors in the building here, not just Delta, but that'll keep on going later in the minute as well. We'll get to the notes a bit later. They run back out through the main lobby, and Gray button mashes the hollow control panel, and luckily for him, he gets the Dilophosaur pop-up right there to block Delta's path. The hologram snarls at the raptor and causes it to pause. Return to Dilophosaur, finally.
Sort of.
Yeah, I know.
I know a lot of fans been wanting to see it again in the flesh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just noticed that we were speculating about the exact location of these labs here last minute, and I noticed that they're actually behind the Hammond statue that is at the back end of the main rotunda here.
Yeah, we get a fantastic shot here from behind that Hammond statue as the raptor and Dilophosaur are sort of looking at each other, squaring off. It's sort of the creator looking over his creations, even though one's a hologram and one's the real raptor. But I thought it was a nice little shot.
One's a brown statue.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
But yeah, the speculation here is that the Dilophosaurus diagram here actually represents a somewhat more adult-sized individual, but it's kind of hard to tell because, well, Charlie is, I'm sorry, not Charlie, Delta is kind of crouching down here, and it's really hard to kind of get a feel for scale because she's crouching down. Her head would probably be about waist, maybe chest height on a person. And the head on the Dilophosaurus is at least one full head above Delta. So maybe the adult or adolescent-sized Dilophosaurus hologram they have here is about human height, maybe? Or maybe comes up to a man's shoulder, which would kind of fit within.
It definitely looks bigger than the original.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And I wonder, it could be just the technology too. Obviously, if they're going to have holograms of the animals there, we've seen it earlier with the Apatosaurus, maybe needing to scale that down a little bit to have it fit in the area you're projecting the hologram into. There's no reason why compies or small animals like this, there's not just a sliding rule that they can make them giant or tiny to fit in your hand. Just because it's in reality, it's a kids' play centre, sort of play display sort of thing. So you'd think they'd be able to move size around a little bit, but
yeah, we saw the same with the Parasaurolophus too, where the size was scaled down.
Yeah, it was only small. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, that could be infant. It could be different aged as well. You don't know what sort of data you can type into that hologram to get it to come up. Whether you can have a baby raptor there playing or...
Oh, that'd be cute. Little baby Blue.
Yeah. So even the Tyrannosaur, being able to have the infant Tyrannosaur, so just stuff like that. Bumpy, having a Bumpy there.
Well, we do see that there is an ability to produce a Tyrannosaurus hologram based on what we see in Season 2 of Camp Cretaceous. But it would seem that's an outside toy.
And I think that's under the control of that secondary controller room, because you imagine kids playing around with that and having dinosaurs pop up everywhere, you'd get a few old people scared, I reckon, even though they're a hologram, just having a Tyrannosaurus suddenly be there and roar.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're button mashing the T-Rex roar, send an old man falling down a ravine and he gets eaten by compies.
Yeah. Damn kids. Should never have brought them. But the Dilophosaurus gives everyone the chance to get outside and run down those front stairs at the Innovation Centre, mirroring much what we see at the end of Jurassic Park with Grant and the kids and Ellie running out the front of the Visitor Centre. So there's just a complete flip here where it's night time. But they're blocked by the big one, in this case Blue. Behind them, Delta pushes through the main doors, no longer distracted by the Dilophosaurus. And then in comes Echo from the other side, and they are all surrounded. And Owen says, "That's it, huh?" Talking to Blue.
And that's not when the attack comes. Not from the front, or from the side. The other two raptors, he didn't even know were there.
And he sees Echo come in from the side there, and he knows that Charlie's exploded, so this is all of them. I would wonder where the new Alpha was, though, since it's not here with them. Although we're going to get that next minute. Blue snarls and walks forward, now dangerously close to Owen. He slowly turns his gun, or lowers his gun, then drops it on the ground, and we get a weird fake gun drop sound there. It doesn't sound anything like what that gun would sound like hitting the concrete.
It does seem interesting, though, because it seems that these raptors have, in fact, come to associate firearms with danger, or at least that seems to be Owen's assumption. So putting it down would be a show of non-aggression for Blue and the other raptors, you know?
Yeah, not knowing previous experience, what they've had. Obviously, the guards on top of the raptor enclosure with those electric dart gun things, they did just see the soldiers open up fire on the Indominus and that, so they do associate guns with danger, you'd think, with how smart they are.
Well, we do know that they just discovered what guns do based on that little massacre they conducted.
Yep. And it's also here we get our first sort of wide shots from behind them of Main Street and just all that water laying around. We've talked earlier about this mysterious storm in the background. It always seems to be on the radar for the island, yet we never see the rain fall. Yet here we've got a very wet Main Street, which, yes, having wet streets and that sort of thing does add to your ability to film. What do they call it? Not photography.
Cinematography?
Yeah, that's the one. Making it more cinematic and that.
Yeah.
Having light being able to reflect off it and that sort of thing as well. But
at the same time, these are considerably sized puddles. These aren't just it's not just like they sprayed it down to make it damp. These are like actual puddles on the ground. You know?
And it sort of gives away too that this is all filmed on that abandoned car park in Six Flags, because just like you wouldn't have your main street this potholed so water could lie like this, because you can have old people rolling their ankles or kids playing in the water and getting parents angry, jumping in the puddles. And then we get Owen trying to look sad in front of Blue, and this is one of the scenes I couldn't imagine Josh Brolin trying to emote his sadness that Blue's turned to the other side or gone to the dark side. And he slowly lifts his hand up and reaches out for Blue, and she sort of snarls at him and snaps at him, but he just quietly says easy.
It's kind of funny because it's like a very unconvincing snapping too. Like it's just kind of like she kind of like snaps her jaws while standing there. It's not like she really snaps and leans forward like she's gonna bite his hand, you know?
It's just like a motion they'd do if they're just standing in the enclosure beside each other, or doesn't seem like an aggressive snap or anything. She's just just giving a little bite. Maybe again a form of communicating.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as the minute ends, Owen slowly reaches out for that camera harness that's still on her head. Again, saying easy. Interestingly enough, Delta and Echo don't have their camera harnesses on anymore. I wonder what happened to those.
Those are we see both of those fall off during the chasing of the Unimog.
Oh, okay.
I think was it Echoes falls off after Zack and Gray electrocute her, and she tumbles to the ground out of the back.
Mm-hmm.
And Delta's falls off after she falls out of the cab window.
Oh, there you
and
go.
Tumbles.
Yep. So it was just Blues that was left on. It's about to get taken off next minute.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else on 105 before we get into some novel comparisons?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Again, two Raptors in giving chase here. So after Echo and Charlie chase the group out of the lab, we cut to the helipad with InGen soldiers loading the cases and Wu waiting inside. As we mentioned a couple of minutes ago, this scene's been swapped around, and it's here where Hoskins learns that Wu learns that Hoskins didn't make it and is worried about getting paid or not. So again, a little bit of a
I should get my money though, right?
Yeah. Here we are in the most dangerous place in the world. I'm not even getting paid. As the group run through the lobby, it's Zack that slides his hand across the screens in the neo-paleontology display, and we get a trio of realistic Dilophosaurs appearing, roaring and spitting. So interesting they get a hologram to spit. Maybe just a little bit of gunk flies across the room and then just disappears.
Well, yeah, I'd probably imagine what it is. It's just the tracking of the hologram, and as soon as it's out of the hologram's range, it just disappears into thin air.
Yeah. It makes me wonder too, since it got more than one, if it would have just been a cut and copy of the CG model, or if we might have actually had some different colours or sizes.
Well, from what I heard was they had developed an entire fully colored, like solid-looking hologram for this, and then ditched it for the kind of bluish Star Wars-looking one.
Yeah, and we do see on the panel as well, there is a Jurassic Park 3 male raptor on there as well.
There's also a shot of the male T-Rex.
Yes. Yep, exactly. So again, like we've talked before, there's so much of this park we don't get to see that they built for production, and that's a shame.
And unfortunately, this in this case is not one of those props that you're really meant to look at and examine, because there's a lot of stolen, or should I say borrowed art all over that little button mash hologram operating thing.
Yep. And lastly, Echo comes out of the visitor center. They keep on calling it the visitor center through the novel just because it was early script and not the innovation center. But Echo comes out through a broken front window, the same one they'd used to enter the building earlier. We don't know how that window was broken in the first place, but it also seems to suggest that the Ibis Raptors didn't figure out how to open doors. They just go through the glass instead of opening doors. So.
Well, even weirder is they don't need to open the doors. They're bi-swing doors.
Yeah.
They swing back and forth. They're not. They don't have handles.
Yeah, we see Delta do that in the film. She walks through behind the group, and in the novelisation, they just love going through windows.
I'd imagine it was probably one of the Pteranodons actually ended up, or maybe even a Dimorphodon ended up through a window during the attack.
Yeah, possibly when it's been tranked. But I suppose we did mention before about the water laying everywhere on Main Street. One thing that's not laying everywhere is the tranquilised Pteranodons. Even though here we are, night time, I'm guessing those tranks have worn off and they've gone to Lookout Summit. What do they call that summit? The gondolas, anyway, for where we see them again.
No, remember they went after the monorails, according to Camp Cretaceous.
Oh yeah,
they started attacking the monorails.
Oh, yeah, that was before they go up to the summit. So that's where they're going. I know there's been a lot of discussion about that pre Camp Cretaceous coming out. The fact that all these Dimorphodons and Pteranodons are gone, but again, if they're only tranking them, they're not going to stay down forever. Although some did hit the ground pretty hard, you wonder what their ability to fly would be afterwards.
Well, that's probably why we only see a couple in Camp Cretaceous attacking the monorail. So some of them probably slinked off and found a place to roost and nurse their wounds.
Well, I think all occasions when we see them, it's always daytime, although the monorail attack is at night, so maybe because they're going after food, they're staying awake, where, you'd think at night time they'd go and find somewhere to roost, and especially on a dinosaur-infested island, the predators normally come out at night, mostly.
Yeah.
But that's 105. Dave, anything else to add before we get out of here for today?
No, I think we're good.